Today we're going to be replacing the valve cover gasket for a 2009 Chevy Aveo. So the first thing we want to do is remove this plastic, just pulling it up. We'll get it removed. The next thing we want to do is grab a T40, put it on a ratchet, and remove the two bolts holding down the coil packs. Do a couple turns on one bolt, then switch to the other, do a couple turns, and just so you can remove them evenly. Now let's go ahead and remove our connector to the coil pack. Just click it with a flathead screwdriver and pull it from the other side, and then with very little force pull the coil packs up. See, so they have oil right there. And when we look inside, the spark plugs also have oil. So the next step is remove plastics, then disconnect a couple connectors just so we can free up the wires that are connected to that go around the camshaft cover and are being held in place around the camshaft cover, just like these. Remove this 10mm bolt, then grab your E10 and remove all 12 or 11 of the camshaft cover bolts. And once those are out, you remove this hose back here, and then you pry out the camshaft cover with two small flathead screwdrivers. And when I was trying to lift it up, I noticed it was being held on one side. So what I saw was there was a cable that was connected, and it was preventing me from moving the harnesses around the camshaft covers. So I went ahead and removed the air intake just so I can disconnect this one cable, and that gave me enough space to remove the camshaft cover. From here I just started cleaning up the part where the gasket goes, and I grabbed some engine degreaser and wiped off the excess oil. Then I went ahead and grabbed the microfiber towel, and I also sprayed it down with engine degreaser just so I can keep cleaning where the gasket is going to go. It took me about an hour and a half to get it really clean. So from there I went ahead and cleaned the camshaft cover, and for that I also threw on engine degreaser around. Make sure I got it super clean, just because once it goes back on, it's going to be very difficult to get it cleaned out, and we don't want any of this oil to fool us later on thinking we have an oil leak. So we want to get all those crevices completely clean right now that we have the cover off. And I did use a little bit of water to remove the excess, and then used some canned air to remove the water right before placing the valve cover gasket. As you can see, it fits perfectly. It's not difficult. Make sure you remove the old gasket completely, just so the new one fits in perfectly too. And grab a little bit of high temperature resistant silicone and put it around the gasket. You don't have to put too much, just enough so that there is some there, but not enough to create another layer, an extra layer of gasket with this valve cover gasket. You only have to put some on there just to make sure it is tight and it won't be coming off anytime soon. I only use about three fingers worth of the silicone. Then I went ahead and placed it back. Not too difficult. Made sure everything lined up and started screwing down the bolts, making sure it was in a cross pattern. I do 2 or 3 turns on each one, then move on to the next one, just so I can evenly tighten all the bolts down. It did take a while, but this is how you know you're doing it right. There we go. It looks like I'm almost done. You guys gotta tighten these down if you guys are doing it with a torque wrench to 33 foot-pounds, I believe. They're not too tight, and whenever I was removing them, they weren't on tight either. So it looks like I'm about done. Again, take this time to like and subscribe if this video is helpful. The main reason why I performed this was because I had oil leaks, and whenever I turned my heater or AC on, I would smell the burnt oil inside the car. So now we want to connect everything back together. We disconnected that connector and hose back there. Then put back the air intake, make sure it's tight. It's got its sensor connected. Then we go on to the other side. We put our plastics back, and we don't want to forget our 10mm bolt holding down our grounds. And I think on this side we have 3 connectors, one for the oxygen sensor and then 2 more connectors on that side. Then we put that plastic back where it goes, and on the other side we wire the cables back to where they were. We clean off our coil packs with the same rag with the engine degreaser. You go ahead and put them back, connect them back in, put our 2 bolts in. These do not have the torque specification, but what I did is tighten them down evenly, and just regular tightness, I would say, not too much, not too little. Went ahead and cleaned the oil cap, put back the plastic cap, and then turned it on. After a month there was no oil leaks. Go ahead and like and subscribe.